Luther will spend the next week in jail. Now the judge.
One salon owner in North Texas, well, she learned that the hard way.
And a hair salon owner who had also opened up her store has been jailed.
Luther tore up the citation to the cheer of the crowd.
But in Dallas, a salon owner, Shelley Luther, faced 7 days in jail for just...
So your client is in jail right now?
But yesterday, a woman by the name, and I want you to remember this name, a woman by the name of Shelley Luther in Texas.
We don't support the random jailing of, for example, the woman who's now a household name, Shelley Luther.
I thought it was terrible. I thought he was a terrible judge.
The prisoner would like to speak a word. You need to apologize. What do you think? He said you need to apologize to the politicians. I was like, what?
So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salons.
They're putting this woman in jail because she's trying to feed her kids. The whole thing is screwed up.
Well, I'm proud to stand with Shelley Luther, and I'll tell you what happened to her was wrong.
Yeah! I'm not anyone special. I just know that I have rights. You have rights to feed your children and make income. And anyone that wants to take away those rights is wrong.
We only had people in Washington, D.C. who had half the guts of this patriot play Shelley Luther.
I don't know why I kind of got emotional about that, because every time I watch that, it kind of brings me back to 14 months ago when that stuff happened. When I was making that speech with the sunglasses on, that was the day after I opened my salon. And someone said, hey, just come to, it was a group called Open Texas on Facebook. And they said, hey, come to our rally. And I'm like, okay. They come and they're like, say something. Okay. I happen to have the cease and desist order from Judge Clay Jenkins that told me to cease operating my salon. I happen to have it in my back pocket. And then when the group just fired me up, so I just tore it up in front of everybody. And some lady came and dove on the ground and picked it up. And then like 3 months ago, she's like, I'm the lady, I have your cease and desist order. And I'm like, wow. And so all of this is just still a little overwhelming to me. And seeing all these people here, I have goosebumps because, first of all, I didn't know there were that many Republicans in this area. Just kidding. No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. I didn't know. I know. It must be hard being you. Seriously. Thank you for showing up and wanting to be active. And Julie and Fran put together something that's truly amazing that will enable you to be an activist if you were like me before and you had no idea what was going on. I know there's a lot of you that have been beating down the door or trying to find anybody that would listen. I was that person that wasn't listening before all of this. I voted for the president. I thought I was just amazing for doing that because I had to get daycare for my kids for 20 minutes to go do something, right? I was just too busy until it affected me. How many of you have just recently become active in the last year and a half? Raise your hand high, be proud. These are your allies. These are the people you need to go to and say, who are your friends and how do we get more like you? Don't turn your backs on these people that are new and ask questions. Because some of you have been doing this a really long time, and I still ask dumb questions, and I ran for state senate. You know? Let me tell you how uninvolved in politics we were. This is my husband, Tim. Lord help him. All he does is try to keep me out of trouble, and it's a full-time job. So after I got out of jail, we're driving to Michigan to try to help Carl Mankey. Remember him? In Michigan, the barber that Gretchen, whatever her Moore or whatever her name is, was trying to shut him down. The dude's like 80-something. And so I got this weird notion that we were in Target or something, and I told Tim, I'm like, I think we're supposed to be in Michigan today. And this happened a lot during this time. I just felt God leading me the whole way, honestly, is what it was. And this is something that I've never experienced before. And so I would just listen. And it's funny, when you listen, your life's a lot easier because you don't have to make decisions. It's really cool. So we're on our way, and Tim has allergies, and we're traveling, and we have to stop every 30 minutes for these Fox interviews because they want to know what jail's like and all this other whatever. He gets out of the car. I'm doing an interview. One of the ladies interviewing me, I don't even know her name because I am not into politics, but she's like, what's that lady's name? Maxine Waters. She says, you should be ashamed of yourself for opening your salon and trying to punish these lawmakers for doing what they had to do or whatever. What do you think about that? And I'm like, Maxine Waters should be ashamed of herself for sitting at home and taking a paycheck while all of us can't eat. Whatever. Tim gets back in the car, and I'm like, babe, who's this Maxine Waters? Here's the thing, though. Who cares? Not just because it's her. Any of these politicians, treating them like a celebrity. They are your employee. They work for you. And if she'd have opened her mouth one time when I was a director of sales of a company, she'd have been gone in 2 seconds. Because we don't play. I was a school teacher for 13 years. We weren't allowed to make the kids stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. They physically told us, we're going to do the pledge. It used to be a prayer that they would do, and then it turned into a moment of silence. Remember all this stuff? And honestly, when they took God out of schools, that's when it all went to hell. But we were not allowed. They physically told us, do not make the kids stand up. You cannot do that. My dad's a 26-year Marine veteran from the Vietnam War, Master Gunny Sergeant. Get up. I don't have to. Do I have to bring my dad in here, who is 6'4", 250 pounds, to tell you that he ran a machine gun out of helicopters, went to grab one of his friends, and his arm just came off? No, ma'am. Stand up. He didn't like it, but he stood up. I wish, this is before I was political at all. I wish people would have seen that, because it went around the school that I was this teacher that made all the kids stand up, blah, 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 whatever. But I wish there was somebody that was conservative that said, ooh, that lady did that. I wonder if she's going to meetings. I wonder if she's political. Because I had all the ideas in my mind, and my dad raised me conservative, but I was not active at all. Zero. I did not know that the governor, the race for governor, he has to get 50% in order to move in the primary to move on to the general. Some of y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so when I have a Facebook page called Fire Abbott, and we'll talk more about him in a second. I have personal reasons for this, but a lot of people are saying, no, we're going to split the vote and then Beto will win. For my new people, and you need to know that in a primary, it would be amazing if Governor Abbott doesn't get 50%. It's all the Republicans running, right? He doesn't get 50%, and then there's a runoff. And then the person that wins that runoff is the one who goes against the Democrat. Okay, so we need to make sure people know that, because they do not. So they will vote for Governor Abbott because they think that you're going to split the vote and get a Dem in. That is real. That is out there. But when you join a group like my Facebook page, Fire Abbott, which I implore you to do, be nice to these people. They're trying to learn. They're there because they want to know. I was one of those people. So a little bit that people don't know about what happened in this whole situation. Governor Abbott tells all of the Fox media, Donald Trump, everybody that he's working with me. This is before I went to jail. He's working with me to try to get salons open. And basically what that was, I was causing a huge stink and he was looking bad. So he had to say something. He has his top official from the strike force team, which was a made-up joke anyway, call me and say, well, what do we need to do to get salons open? And I'm like, well, why are they closed? That's classified. What? No, I'm serious. And I don't know if they thought I would just be like dingy, some dumb blonde salon owner, like stupid, but I was like, what? And they're like, we can't tell you that information. I'm like, you don't know? Or you can't tell me? Can we get back to you at the end of the week? Don't get back to me. This is a joke. They never had an excuse. And let me tell you, with salons, our sanitation training for cosmetologists is like right under nurses and doctors. Most of their training is sanitation, so there were zero reasons why any salon that was running properly should be closed down. And so I asked, when TDLR calls, and they're the people that, come and they're supposed to come look and see if salons are clean, they never do. They said, you cannot open. And I said, why? Well, Governor Abbott said so. I'm like, he's not my dad. Yeah, but we might do something. I'm like what? Well, I don't know. Well, let's see what happens. If you don't know, I don't know. We need to see. But all I know is I paid the rent at this salon instead of my mortgage. So we're going to show up there and see what happens. Well, the police might come. And I'm like, oh, okay. What are they going to do? I'm not even going to let them in my salon. Because you don't have to, right? And let me just tell you, the police were always very nice in this. It was Dallas, which is similar to Austin these days, I'll be honest with you. They did not want to come to the door and be like, ma'am, Clay Jenkins is telling me that you need to, and he's the county judge who is a total bad person. And so they're like, we're so sorry, we have to do this. They didn't want to. They were the messengers for the people that were too scared to come tell me. There was a Judge Moyer and the wonderful gentleman that you saw on TV where I was like, I'm not going to shut the salon. He gave me a temporary restraining order against my own salon that I paid the lease for. A restraining order against my salon to keep my hairstylist from working and feeding their family. And let me just tell you, this wasn't about a haircut. It never was. We didn't say haircuts were essential. We said the income that these people are making is essential. And there's nothing worse, like when the kids play like Red Rover and you're like the last one called because you're just not very athletic and blah, blah, blah. That's how you feel. Why is the government deciding who's essential and not? Why? So he wanted me to apologize to him for opening the salon, this judge. And that's when my husband knew, oh God, she's going to jail. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I could have gone to jail for 180 days. That's like 6 months. That's what the order said, 180 days. So my husband's in freak out mode. And of course, I'm just like, honestly, we woke up, we decided to open the salon. And from that point forward, when we decided to listen to what we were being told to do, and we decided to do it, I have had, since then, zero fear because I knew I was being taken care of. He still freaks out because I'll say whatever and do whatever, and I'll go into a crowd of 3,000 Black Lives Matter people, and they'll be like, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, I know. So do we. They don't like that. It freaks him out. So he said, you hold the key to the jail cell. You can apologize, and you could probably walk out of here. And he's like, ugh. So he comes back, and you can tell by the look on his face. If you ever watch this video, which is online, this is the opening to I have a podcast. If you watch it and I say, I'm not going to open the salon, he's looking down and he goes, you see the judge look up because he had no idea that I was going to say no. He thought there's no way this white blonde chick with all her makeup on in her suit is going to go to jail. That's what he thought. Dude, I was raised by a Marine. I could handle some jail. Yeah, oorah. So, let me tell you something about some of the things that happened. We had a black couple come before I went to jail. We were open. There's 30 newscasters there. Interviews, it's just crazy. We had a line like going outside and around the corner. And honestly, I opened because I thought I was being responsible. Because I didn't want my hairstylist going underground to people's houses, spreading whatever this was that we really didn't know at the time. I had chairs sitting 6 feet apart, sanitation stations. You could only come in by one person to a stylist, and it was very controlled, which I thought was responsible. So this black couple comes up, and it's important that they're black, and I'll tell you the reason why. They come up, and they're like, I cannot believe you're open right now. And it's chaos. It's crazy town. We had bouncers at the door. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, why are you open? And I'm like, because I have hairstylists that can't pay their mortgage and they're not eating in order to feed their own kids. That's the point we're at right now, because we did shut down for a full month. And to a hairstylist, a month salary, that's a lot because they're used to living on their daily earnings. They're like, well, how are you open? And I say, the key. And I wasn't even trying to be funny. I was just trying to be like, I own this place. It's my salon. I check. I pay the taxes. I use the key. And what's important with that is, to the activists, I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but to the new people, you hold the key. You hold the key to do what is right. You have to choose to use it. You have it. Republicans now are, and they've always been, and it's probably why I wasn't active before. We just didn't talk politics. And there's no way if someone stood up here, we're going to be like, that guy's a liar. No, shh, don't cause any problems. Be respectful. Yeah, I'm done with that. I hope you are too. So a lot of people ask what we're doing now that I've gotten out of jail. We did get a GoFundMe account that was over $500,000. We gave away, and that was in the 48 hours I was in jail, because I went to jail for 2 full days. And I'm talking, it wasn't, oh, let's put her in a nice, cushy place. This was pregnancy tests, strip search, the whole thing, the whole deal. They put me through the ringer on purpose to make sure. And I wouldn't budge, I wouldn't cry, I wouldn't do anything that made them think that they won, because I was just too stubborn. So we get to, I forgot what I was going to say because I was talking about strip searches and there's kids here. Oh, Republicans. So we're traveling all over the place. We were given the GoFundMe money. We've given away well over $100,000 to people that we would just leave $1,000 on a single mom waitress's tip and just walk out and not even tell her anything. Just do that. And most of that was because I want people to believe that they're still good. Republican, Democrat, who cares? But this person gave me this money, so I think things are going to be okay. We gave $18,000 to a black-owned barber shop to where they got a guy out of his car. He was living in his car. They were able to furnish an apartment for him, not anything nice, and we paid for his tuition for all of barber school, and he just graduated just a few months ago. We didn't feel like it was our money. We felt so blessed with it that we just wanted to give it away. And so a lot of people wonder what we did with that. We are going all over speaking and trying to get people active. We also took advantage of what Fran does often and go into the Capitol. And I tell you, I know nothing. The first time we ever went in the Capitol was when Fran showed us how to fill that thing in and go log in. Who's done that? Okay, see? Sorry, I didn't know. So there was a bill, there's a bill HB 3 that came out, not this session, but the first one. And what it was giving Governor Abbott basically all of these tyrannical mandates, basically turning them into law. I was like, oh no, how do I stop this, right? Because me of all people, I'm like, no. So Tim and I went and testified. We didn't know how to do it. Fran, they do this in the advocate training, so you should go to that if you've never been, or even if you've been, she might teach you some tricks that will help you get through there quicker. We hadn't even gone to the training. Fran was nice enough to help us out. So Tim and I go. I talk about the salon experience and things like that. Tim spoke about his son, who is 11 years old, and since COVID hit, he has gained 10, 15 pounds probably. He walks like with his head down. He's like slunchy now. He used to love school. He used to love going to school, and now he makes excuses where his stomach hurts and things like that. Depressed. It's like true signs of depression. And I'm testifying, talking about that, and a Democrat legislator from the committee says, how is your son doing? Which is Tim's. And I'm like, I don't know. He'd be doing a lot better if we opened up the schools and did, made everything like it was, because he's depressed. The man is crying, blubbering in the committee. Tom Glass was there, who's back there. Fran was there. Fran also brought someone that testified that her grandson committed suicide because of the depression. We have not seen what the outcome of this will be yet. It's bad, but the media doesn't talk about it. So we've got this gentleman crying, and he can barely talk, and he says, we cannot let this happen. This is a Democrat. Which brings to mind that I know you live in an area where it's tough, but they will listen if you will go there. So I don't want you to give up on that, because we had no idea that a Democrat would help us kill that bill, and it died. It died. In committee, it never left committee. That was huge. The last thing I want to talk about is what you can do. How do you get active? What can you do? First of all, I looked up Travis County precinct chairs. Anybody not know what a precinct chair is? Good. Okay. Okay, your precinct chairs. So basically, and I might flub this up, but you're basically kind of responsible for rallying up your precinct that you live in. And Travis County has 247 precinct seats. And depending on where you live, it's like divided up, right? Out of 247 seats, only 93 are filled. Yes, we know that. So we found that in our area too. So there are over 150 seats that are open. You do not have any conservatives rallying in all of those 150 sections of that county that are Republican. They're all Democrats. How can you win your county if that's the case? Being a precinct chair is not hard. That you don't have to have any kind of experience. Seats that are open, you can ask to fill them without even being on a ballot. They have to hold a special meeting, but you can ask to fill them. Come up here, though. So Bob is a precinct chair.
That's correct. I'm also the Travis County Republican Party chair of our Election Integrity Committee. But anyway, I was there until almost 4 a.m. on Sunday morning. Lynn was down there as well. It was tough seeing all of the people coming in there. and very organized, testifying against a bill that I would swear none of them had read, nor had they read the breakdown of what the bill actually said on the Senate side. But anyway, we have a Travis County Republican Party Executive Committee meeting open to the public, open to guests, next Tuesday, the 20th. Okay? And it's going to be downtown. All you got to do is you can go on to Travis County Republicans group, or you can call Brian Ruddle down at the office, and he's at 512-302-1776. And you can get details about where and when. The meeting itself starts about 7 o'clock. And we invite everybody that wants to come down. And if you want to be a precinct chair, we can tell you how to do it, and we would welcome you.
Good. So that's just a few of the things that we're working on, because if you don't have someone advocating for you in your precinct or in your county, you're just going to get mulled over by the Democrats, because they are an army. They work hard against us. We can't let that happen. I didn't even know what a precinct chair was until like a year ago. Why would I? Right? But you need to do those things. It's very important. Running against, when I went to state senate, when I ran for state senate, there was a guy that I ran against who has a 60% or less voting record on Texans for Fiscal Responsibility, what Carrie was talking about, the whole time he was in the House, 8 years. He was against constitutional carry for 8 years. So when we campaigned, I said, you were against constitutional carry for 8 years, and now he wants to carry the bill. No, I wasn't. Yeah, you were. I mean, it's on record. It's everywhere, like we all know. We eventually got in a meeting where he came out to say, this is the most conservative meeting or conservative session ever. And we got to ask questions, which was like Christmas to me, because I was like, how is constitutional carry this year different than the previous 8 years where you didn't want it? He goes, I always wanted it. No, sir, you did not. And this is in a meeting with a lot of people. I'm like, no, you did not. And he said, it's because Jonathan Stickland wrote it. He said on video with everybody around, he did not vote for your constitutional right to bear arms because of a certain person that wrote it. That's what we're dealing with. It's like 4th grade. It's a big fraternity party up there. It's drugs and sex and all of the other stuff going on. They do not care about you. You are a burden to them. And the more of a burden you can be to them, the better. Because when I got to campaign against this fool, I held him accountable. He had to say all these things that he ran unopposed so many years, right? So he could just kept getting reelected. But because I ran against him, he had to say he was for constitutional carry. For the first time ever, he said, abolish abortion, because he wasn't going to get elected if he didn't. Now, I won the jungle election when there were 6 of us, because it was a vacated seat early. And I lost in the runoff because Governor Abbott and my opponent spent almost $8 million against me. Whose money is that? Oh, that's yours. Because that's lobby money. And you pay for lobbyists. Not that you want to, but you do. So what I'm saying is how you can be responsible or how you can be active. We need more people to run against the incumbents. I did not win the election, but this fool scored a 90% in the state Senate on Texans for Fiscal Responsibility for the first time ever. All of a sudden, he's conservative. Who cares? He voted the right way. Did I lose? No. Hashtag winning. I didn't even have to go and drive up to Austin. He did it for me. But that's what I'm saying. That's how you've got to hold these people accountable. You have to. You have to fill these precinct chairs. You have to door knock. You have to make phone calls. And you have to be in their face. Be respectful, We're not going to act like AOC because that lady is crazy. But we're going to be Republicans and be respectful, but calling people out for their crap is necessary. And you're not being disrespectful when you say you're lying. If it's factual, you know it, you're lying. I need you to stop lying and tell the people the truth because it's going to be campaign season. Oh, hi, you're my friend. Oh, yes, we're going to do everything that you want. And then they get there and like, I hate those people. We have heard them say that. House members have told us that they hear them talking bad about you. Do not believe one word they said. And what Carrie says, the best quality a candidate can have is courage, especially in Austin, because not only do they have to stand against the Democrats, they have to stand against the rhinos. Courage. And don't let them talk about it. They better be about it. Thank you guys so much for your time.